I mean, maybe listen just in case. Get it? The docket is gold. My pockets are swole. Stop, drop, and roll. At lock on the gold, it doesn't get old. Each episode, I just download. I'm just a fella that's hella intelligent now that I got me the code. Build me a yellow brick road. Hey, chillin', feelin'. How could I be this gifted? Millions, reelin'. Frying up all of these fish sticks. Enter all these competitions. I ain't seen no competition. Justice served can't stop the system. I suggest y'all stop and listen. Please rise, sit down. Pot is in session, get rich now. Invest in the best, yes. The investigator is nothing but fresh. Please rise, sit down. Pot is in session, get rich now. Go by the book, yeah. The lawyer is loyal, now come take a look. Go.
Okay, let's go. Welcome to the DFS Docket on sportsradiodetroit.com, sidelinescript.com, and the Sport Bums Network. Abe, the DFS detective, Josh Faber here with you. June 10th, special Thursday night evening, 2021, and we have one hell of a show for you. We got one of our biggest guests ever. I swear to God, this thing is going to be crazy. He is the lead. Josh, I don't want to talk to you anymore. You can just mute yourself and go away. I'm telling you right now, me and this guest, we're going to talk about so much about things I love, Josh. You can probably go back and spend the rest of the night with your family.
I swear to God, if we talk about the Mets for more than 2 minutes, I'm done.
That's fine. You can leave. I don't give a damn. He is the lead NFL draft analyst for Bleacher Report. He is the host of the That's So Mets podcast, which I listen to every single Wednesday morning. He is the one person that firmly understands why I pay almost no attention during these shows on Tuesday nights around 9 p.m. because I am watching Mets games as they go. Ladies and gentlemen, Connor Rogers.
Oh, man. I love it, guys. It's no coincidence you booked me on Thursday when the Mets are off. It all works out really, really well. But listen, I'm really excited. So let's do it, man.
Honestly, if the Mets game were being played right now, Josh would have to take this whole show over because I know you and I would both be sitting there we'd be here like physically, but we'd both be eyes glued to our phones or second TVs or whatever it is, watching probably the Mets being no hit at some point.
Yeah, it was real bad. I remember when we were leading up to the draft, and obviously baseball season kicks off before the draft. They sneak in a couple of day games, and like right above here is where my TV is on the wall. And when the Mets were on and I was in draft meetings and I would leave my camera on at Bleacher Report, like you could see the light vibrating or bouncing off me and me just like looking up like this and like holding in reactions. Fortunately, at Bleacher Report in New York City, a lot of Mets fans, they kind of are all on the same page, but it's a real life problem when you're working from home.
And it's crazy because, Connor, you and I are very similar. Jets fans, Mets fans.
Misery.
Yeah, like my whole life.
He didn't mean to insult you. He didn't mean to insult you when he said you're really similar. He just means you like the same teams.
Yeah. No, Connor's definitely in a much better like human societal life position than I am. There's no question about that. I mean, look at the man's hair. I mean, it's just phenomenal.
By the way, between bets earlier in the week and I'm sorry, with Yates earlier in the week and Connor. I mean, who's got better hair, Kyle Yates or Connor Rogers? I think that's a tough one.
Kyle probably has me beat. Me and Kyle are actually in a dynasty league together. Small world.
Kidding.
So cool. Yes, I am. This is the only dynasty league I'm in. It's my second year. I did not do very well last year. I think I got like 7th or something along those lines. But yes, that is my relation to Kyle. We are in a dynasty league together, and I think the man's got me beat. Probably in that league this year, and probably with the hair.
Well, we got to stop having on guests and make us look so bad.
Josh, everybody makes you look bad. I mean, let's be real about it. Again, Josh comes here with barely any clothes on, with that receding hairline, trying to grow the beard.
You know what? Last week, there was a lot of complaints. We had Yates, and I just came from court. I had a full shirt on. I had sleeves. I had a tie. People missed the gun, so I brought him back. You
did a full 180 this week. You went full opposite. Are those vases behind you, Josh, or are they bottles behind you? I'm trying to figure it out.
That's a 14-year Scotch and 16.
All right.
He's got that lawyer money. I have Miller Lite. That's about all I can afford at this point in my life.
Yeah, I can't keep any of the booze up here. That has to stay downstairs, or else literally the show wouldn't get done. A lot wouldn't get done at this hour, so can't do it.
No, No, absolutely not. All right, on tonight's docket, we're gonna hang out with Connor. We're gonna talk about what he specializes in besides the Mets, the NFL draft. We all know the top guys, but I'm really interested to hear from Connor some other aspects to it, and we got our rapid fire spitballing questions to learn a little bit more about Connor as we go. Tonight's show, as always, brought to you by Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com, promo code Docket for 20% off and free shipping. You know you got to keep your boys clean down there. It's summertime. It's hot out. Keep it fresh. You know, get that haircut for your hair when it's hot. Why not get a haircut down below and everywhere else in between? Again, manscaped.com, promo code Docket for 20% off and my favorite number of free shipping. Connor, I do want to start off tonight's show and ask you this. I mean, we're just going to get into it. I'd love to know the lead draft analyst. First of all, how you got involved, like doing draft stuff, scouting, all this stuff, because college scouting to me just seems like such a difficult position to get into, where you're looking at guys that max are playing 4 years in college, and sometimes they're only playing 10 games. And sometimes it's against teams, even the top teams play against some of this crap where you can't even really comprehend, are they playing well, or is the other team just so bad that it makes them look good? So I'd love to hear how you got into all that.
Yeah, it's definitely a long road, and it's a story that's even better for off the air. But I mean, the real basics of it is like anyone else in this industry. I was a fan, right? A fan of football, a fan of college football, a fan of the NFL draft, because like you, I grew up a New York Jets fan. I was in the Meadowlands when the old Meadowlands, not awful MetLife Stadium, when I could like, wow. So
it's true, right?
Yes. So, I mean, so I rooted for a team that their draft position mattered a lot of years, right? So when you looked at it, you were always keeping your eye on the draft. And at the same time, my dad was a huge college football fan, which, while that's not the most popular thing in New York all the time, it was in our household. So the draft really, it mattered a lot. So then, you know, I went to business school. I went to Albany, and I didn't think I would work in media. I didn't think I would work in production. And small coincidence, I ended up getting in the door at Bleacher Report as a production researcher assistant. It's basically the ground level job in any media company where you're doing research, you're doing a lot of the grinding work. You're essentially a glorified intern at best is what it is. So, you know, instead of going into the business world, I took a chance and did that for a lot less money and a lot more hours. And I didn't have money to move down to the city right away. So I used to commute round trip 6 hours a day with a lot of different trains and driving. And, but the good side of it, because that all sounds bad, the good side is I was working sports, I was working at football, and a lot of the research work I did was for Chris Sims, and a lot of my day was spent with Sims going over different scenarios, different draft stuff, you know, a lot of different whatever video content we were shooting that day regarding football. So basically I was just living and breathing football almost every hour of my life. And since I wasn't sleeping much, I slept about 4 hours back then per night. That's a lot of football to take in. And I mean, to really cut the story short, you know, one thing led to another where I got promoted to assistant, you know, to AP, to eventually producer, started a show with Matt Miller, a podcast when the podcasting world was growing, but it wasn't what it was today. And I think I met a lot of people along the way that work in the NFL that taught me a lot of the scouting world, things that you never would see, things behind closed doors that are a huge part of it that lead to a lot of successes. And basically, I just met the right people, learned from those people, asked a lot of questions, put in a lot of work behind the scenes, and eventually led to opportunities in front of the camera. And to do this all year round is my real life job.
That's awesome.
So Connor, let me ask you this. Okay. You know, speaking of the scouting and the fantasy aspect of it, you know, you have one of your pinned tweets is your top 250 position rankings. And you have everyone kind of listed there. Post, you know, you kind of, this is probably a pre-draft list. You have Najee, Etienne, Javonte as a top three, as you know, everyone did. Then Gainwell, Chuba, Michael Carter, and then Trey Sermon. Post-draft, are you changing any of those orders? You still like that? I know you're a Michael Carter guy, I'm sure, but
he's the one. Michael Carter's got to be the one.
Now that teams have drafted, we know where these guys are going to land. How do you rank those rookie running backs?
Well, it's a great question because number one, it's a question that people aren't asking a lot in media and they should. And I think, and that's a little bit of me trying to, cover my own ass in a way where I always tell people the longer I've done this, right, guys, the hits and misses I have, or talking to guys in the league that have hits and misses all the time, people that are become friends, a lot of it is situational based. Now there's talent that's talent, right? You're going to get your Jamar Chases of the world that the dude's probably just better than most football players at his position. You look at Trevor Lawrence, guys like that, Penei Sewell. But a lot of the times, the situation dictates the ceiling of a player. And we don't ask that question a lot after drafts. We just sit there and go, well, you said this about this player in March, and now he's not getting any carries. And it's like, well, I didn't project him to go to a team that has a lead running back making $15 million a year that should never come off the field. So number one, I truly like the question because I think it's really important and something that we don't talk about enough. And I think I'll start with Kenny Gainwell. I mean, when you're drafted that late, I think Gainwell's a good player. I think he got, unfortunately brought down on a lot of boards because he didn't play this year. And I think that's really unfair, but I think that's just the nature of it, that he was a 1-year big-time player and that's it. And I think he's going to a situation in Philly where, a couple injuries here or there, he could be the guy real quick, but you're not drafting him early enough, right? Yeah, you're not drafting him early enough to be put in that kind of role. So I think Gainwell becomes a little devalued there. I mean, obviously, Javonte is very interesting to me because he goes to a team that I think surprised a lot of us when you spend a premium selection on a running back when you think, hey, they're looking kind of good at running back. So I think those two in the fantasy aspect take a little bit of a hit. Then you look at Michael Carter there at 6. He's the guy that goes up the most because why shouldn't he start for the New York Jets this year, right? And, we had Daniel Jeremiah on my Jets show last week, and Daniel was like, he's going to be the leader in production in that backfield by the end of the year when you look at how things shake out. And DJ is a guy that knows Joe Douglas very well, knows the thought process behind that picks. Joe Douglas comes out and says he would have taken him at 66 or 86, but they traded those picks. They still got him outside the top 100. So by default, you guys know this, running back is a volume-related position. And in this draft class, I didn't think it was a very good running back class. We know Najee is going to have an insane workload. ETN, we have some question marks about. The other guys we have question marks about. Michael Carter gets that big-time bump out of everyone because at a minimum, he's the 1B in that backfield.
What about Trey Sermon? Do you think he can kind of take the lead with? I mean, again, you talked about with Gainwell a couple injuries, and we said not that hard to come across injuries in the Philly backfield. Not that hard to come across injuries in the San Fran backfield either considering Wilson is already injured.
I completely agree with you, and I think what you like more about Sermon is the Niners are a proven commodity running the ball while the Jets are not. Right? We like Mekhi Becton. We love the big man. Listen, AVT on that line. We haven't seen Mike LaFleur call plays. They have some questions on the right side. Rookie quarterback teams might, bring a lot of guys down into the box and really challenge them to throw against them. So Michael Carter, you're going, well, we know the volume is going to be there. We don't know what the production will look like at the end of the year. Trey Sermon, we don't know what the volume is going to look like, but God forbid there is volume because of one of those injuries, like you said, very injury-prone backfield. The production's going to be there. Trey Sermon never had a problem producing when he was healthy on the field, whether it was at Oklahoma, whether it was at Ohio State. Those weren't problems across 3 years of productivity. So I really do like him. It's just one of those situations where you're kind of sitting there going, man, you hate to be the guy rooting for opportunity through injury, right, but that's what it'll take for him to be on the field right away.
Sure.
And with Trey Sermon, it's a lot of the running back by committee, that whole San Francisco backfield, the Tampa Bay backfield, things like that, where from a fantasy NFL perspective, yeah, it's great. But from a fantasy perspective, like, God damn, just give me the guy. Just let me know who it's going to be. And that's why I really like Michael Carter with the Jets backfield. I see them running a very similar system to what San Francisco has. You bring in Tevin Coleman from that system. You already saw what he did there, which is going to be nothing. I think he's going to be more of helping teach the guys on the field what the system is like. And then what? You got Michael Carter, who these guys drafted, and LaMichael Pirine, who, don't forget, Joe Douglas drafted him also. So LaMichael Pirine might be that 1B, but I think if you had that much faith in Pirine, you're not going and taking Michael Carter in the 4th round.
You want to hear something crazy? Ty Johnson might start. That's how up in the air this entire thing is. Nobody knows. Nobody
Lions,
knows.
Maybe he comes from the Lions. It makes sense.
I think he was a 5th round pick by the Lions too. So it's not like he was just, when you're a 5th round running back pick, like, you have talent. He's got speed. He fits the scheme. They like him a lot. You know, Tevin's back in camp and he's saying he's 100% this year. I think Tevin Coleman shows up 100% every year. I think it goes away really quick. So yeah, I'm not buying stock there. I don't think Pirine's a great fit in the scheme, although he's reliable catching the ball and in pass pro. But Ty Johnson and Michael Carter, they have the most upside in that backfield by far.
Oh, I love it. So let me ask you this. Guys who are later in the draft, 5th, 6th, 7th round picks, even undrafted free agents, that you can see having any sort of legitimate fantasy impact for this year. Forget about Dynasty, because, yeah, you can take, a 7th round guy and like Chuba Hubbard, right? Oh, maybe if McCaffrey goes down, maybe after a couple of years, maybe he can bring some value. I want to know for 2021, are there any late round guys that you can see making that James Robinson type of production?
Ooh, it's a good one. Normal. No, it's not. And I didn't like this running back class. So, it went really quick. Right now, Ramondre Stevenson in a ugly backfield, right? One that, like, you just kind of sit back and go, I want nothing to do with it. I know that's how I feel. He's got a shot, I think, because they've had a player like him in LeGarrette Blount before, where they have a type, they like that type of player. They will run that player very, very hard. So I could see him having a good camp and earning his way to more opportunity. A couple of guys get hurt in front of him. When you look at the guys in front of him, they are injury prone. I think he's one that, has a chance. When you look at the late guys, it's not an overly exciting list. I think when you look at some of the wide receivers, maybe not that late, but one that I like that might be more dynasty related rather than having an impact right away is Jalen Darden, because I think that while the Bucs have 8 million guys in front of him, he's just too good of a player in a pass-happy team that we've seen them get hit with injuries at wide receiver a lot and have to have the 4th or 5th or 6th guys step in and play. And I think he's just too talented to not take a hold of an opportunity like that. So I think it's a year where there aren't a ton of guys like that. I really like Tylan Wallace in Baltimore. Obviously, they took Bateman, who should be a target monster for a team that does not throw the football a lot. They had a tough time.
If there's such a thing in Baltimore.
Right? That's exactly. The target monster might be 5 a game, right? It's just ugly. It's ugly. But, when you look at the rest of that wide receiver core that wasn't taken in this draft, once again, very injury prone group. So maybe he finds his way in there. But overall, I think situationally, a lot of these guys, unfortunately, are just very, very buried right now.
Can we get some Jake Funk love? Any chance?
Jake, I can't really promise you any of that love.
I wish I had play that funky music drop. Josh, you got to prepare me ahead of time for that. Come on, bro.
I know. I just want it to be good so I can get a Funk jersey.
That's the thing. You always want the funny names to end up really, really good, because then it creates a really good jersey. And football jerseys are usually really bad. So it's few and far between that you can get those. One other guy that, and I haven't kept up with him in OTAs at all, and it kind of surprised me when he went undrafted, was Antonio Nunn from Buffalo. If you were looking for someone I thought would be a 6th or 7th rounder that might find his way onto the field, he didn't get drafted, so it's a big uphill climb for him. But if you ask me that question pre-draft, who out of the 6th and 7th round guys do I think can really, really play? It would have been him or a Cade Johnson type, and both of them go undrafted. So it's just crazy how that works.
It just shows you that none of us actually know anything.
Really, it's true. At the end of the day, projections, I'm sitting there up on the desk every year and I'm like, I can't believe this guy didn't get drafted. I thought he'd go in the top 90 picks. It's round 5.
Right. All the time. So are there any higher end guys that everyone's expecting them to be monsters out of the gate that you're lower on, thinking maybe Javonte Williams isn't going to be that good? Now, I'm just using him as an example, but anybody like that?
Well, I just kind of wonder, should we really trust Jacksonville with Travis Etienne, right? I think that's one where I look at it and go, man.
Nope.
No, you don't like that.
I don't know what they're doing. Urban Meyer still thinks that he's partying in college. We're just going to get everybody out there and everybody's just going to go have a good old time around here.
Yes.
Oh, Urban, you got to pay these players legitimately.
But you know what? When Etienne was drafted, everyone said, well, there goes Robinson's value. but then at OTAs and
circle.
early on, they're putting ETN out wide. They're moving him around, sort of like a scat back type player, more utility guy. If I'm, this year alone, I'm betting on one guy to lead that team in touches and lead that team in fantasy points. It's going to be Robinson, not ETN, probably.
Yeah, it should be. You're absolutely right. It really should be. And, it's funny. We had on Tony Khan, he did an interview with Taylor Rooks on our day 3 coverage, and he has a lot of personnel influence in Jacksonville. Obviously, he's co-owner of the team, and he's more in the analytics. And he could not stop talking about ETN as a pass catcher. Really nothing as a runner, but over and over again, the pass catching, it makes you sit there and go, okay, so maybe they think they have a 1A back in Robinson, which I think it's safe to say they do. Maybe they truly drafted ETN as this, mismatch, offensive weapon, play receiver. But once again, that's why I'm staying away. I love that player. He's one of my favorite college football players of all time. I since going back to his sophomore year. I don't like that situation at all. I think that the one I'm very conflicted on as a rookie, but not long-term outlook, is Kyle Pitts, because it's funny, when Julio got traded, everyone was like, yes, Kyle Pitts' volume is going to be through the moon. And then I'm kind of sitting there going, yeah, do you realize now, like, a lot more attention goes to Calvin Ridley. A lot more attention can go in the middle of the field to Kyle Pitts. It goes both ways. Yes, the volume goes up for Kyle Pitts. It has to. They don't have Julio Jones anymore. And I love Calvin Ridley, but this matters a lot for Kyle Pitts, the receiver, not the tight end. At the same time, now you're talking about the marquee players of your defense that might walk over and shade or bracket Julio Jones. They go, well, we have a corner we feel good about against Ridley. Let's bracket this guy, Kyle Pitts. So he's not one that I'm doubting. It's not that. It's one that I'm very curious to watch, because year 1 tight end production is notoriously bad, right? We saw a guy like TJ Hawkinson go up 350 yards from year 1 to year 2, 4 touchdowns, from 2 touchdowns to 6. Noah Fant was a rare one that had a pretty good rookie year, but not a great one. And I just think when you look at it across the board, you always have to beware, especially in like these redraft leagues, of the rookie tight end production or lack thereof.
So I don't know if you know this, Connor. I actually talked to Urban Meyer about an hour ago. I got some audio from him. I asked him straight up. I said, Coach, will you please tell me which of these running backs I can draft and trust? And here's the audio of his answer.
Oh, hell no.
Now, he's keeping everything real close to the vest. He doesn't want to tell anybody anything. And me and him we're boys, Michigan, Ohio State, that whole thing. But he's like, nope. No, he had no interest in telling me absolutely anything. That dick. All right. I want to add.
So, Connor, let me ask you this. Oh, go.
No.
Go. I was going to say, moving from kind of the rookie, the pre-draft, portion of this to the news of the day and kind of the news of the last couple of weeks in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers, is he going to be in Green Bay this year? And if he's not, how does that affect the fantasy outlook for everyone else on that team? Obviously, Devontae is going to be taking a hit. I saw reports out of Packers camp that Jordan Love could not get the ball past 50-yard line in 7-on-7s. And then, again, if he's not there, is that going to affect, Aaron Jones? Obviously, Jones's usage goes up. But as you said with Pitts too, where the attention is away, there's no attention on Julio and going to him, you're going to see a lot of stacked boxes if Aaron Rodgers isn't there.
Yeah, you are. And you also have the A.J. Dillon problem creeping up on you too for Aaron Jones. So,
sure.
And that's a team you said earlier, teams that rotate their running backs. A lot of people don't realize this. Green Bay does it a ton. It's just Aaron Jones is so good with his touches and they run the ball so much that you don't even realize it. You're like, oh, he's a 1A back and like a workhorse. And it's like, well, Jamal Williams was on the field like a ton for them when he was there before going to Detroit. And the same thing will happen to A.J. Dillon. So, all right. So Aaron Rodgers, my feeling of it, or the most obvious is, if he's back, it will be for a boatload of money, just a boatload of cash, where that's the only way I think they get this done. The longer this goes on, I become very skeptical of him returning to Green Bay, to be completely honest with you, where if I was one of those absolute nutcases that drafts, really early or late July, early August, whatever, the crazy leagues. I know people that do this. I'll never understand it. I would stay away. Devontae is so good that I don't know how much it matters. But what if Jordan Love's really bad, right? Like, that's something we're not talking about. Like, not what if he's bad. What if he's really bad, where it's like, as a Jets guy, I saw this. Like, Sam Darnold was really bad, and
Right.
Robbie Anderson goes to Carolina, and everyone's like, oh my God, Robbie Anderson's great. And it's like, well, he's been really good for a while. Not great, but he's been really good for a while. Like, he just had a bad quarterback and a bad offense, and everything around him was bad.
Right.
Like, that's what you forget how taxing a bad quarterback can be for a wide receiver, even the great ones. So I'm not terrified of Devontae in that situation, but it makes you raise your eye. I would stay away from the backfield. Obviously, any of the number 2 wide receivers. Obviously, they have Amari Rodgers there, who I really like in the slot. But at the end of the day, if Aaron Rodgers is not there, you would assume he's going to Denver. I think that would be an assumption.
I don't know. Deshaun Watson came out and said that he wants to go to Denver.
Yeah, that was.
Well, Deshaun Watson wants to not be in jail.
I was going to say, I think any conversation right now around a Deshaun Watson trade is.
I want to be the quarterback in Denver too. What do you know?
Yeah, right. Yeah, we all do. But I mean, Rodgers in either most likely Denver would make the most sense to me. So then you start talking about Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton and having fun with that instead. But yeah, I think it's a huge problem. I think that, and it's not even like a lot of people are really like dunking on Jordan Love right now. It's like, no, would be his first chance to start. Like, a lot of rookie quarterbacks are really, really bad. And I know he got a year to sit and learn there. So he got the Mahomes situation, but it's the chances of him being great, the chances of him being 70% Aaron Rodgers are just not realistic in my eyes.
Right. Well, it's funny when people were talking about, there's no way Aaron does not go back to Green Bay, right? He is Green Bay. There's no way he's not there. I saw something on Twitter, Instagram, and it was like, guys, don't forget, this is the dude who doesn't talk to his family anymore.
Yes.
He will easily not go back to Green Bay.
Right.
He will easily sit the rest of his career.
Absolutely. I always say this, like, if anybody could just walk away from football after winning the MVP, it's Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, it's him. It's him.
Like, it's Aaron Rodgers. Like, he'll go do Jeopardy. He'll go on more Hawaii vacations.
Right.
He's got life set up. He's got life.
He's good.
Every adult male wants to have.
He's good. I do think that his competitive edge is understated at times. Like, I do think the one Super Bowl thing really bothers him for how good of a player he is. But I think it's not enough where he'll just come back with his tail between his legs and be like, oh, I'm here. Like, he's not that kind of guy. He's not that. He'll hold a grudge. He will hold a grudge.
He's so competitive. It honestly shocked me that he did a weekly segment with Pat McAfee for like 45 minutes every
and he was
Tuesday.
Good.
Just talking about he was great.
Yeah.
He was great. He was must listen, must watch, YouTube, all that stuff. And honestly, the Pat McAfee show is must watch every day also. But I'm shocked that he and that competitiveness in him was somebody that was willing to step away from watching tape for an hour to do so. It amazes me, and I'm a huge Aaron Rodgers fan. Connor, I know you don't know this. Josh will back me up on this. I picked Aaron Rodgers. He had a down year in 2019. I picked him to be the MVP in 2020.
Well, hopefully you can bet where you live, and you got to do that.
Well, now we can. And look, he's right. I keep a list of all the dumb things Abe says and all the smart things. The dumb list is a lot longer, but Aaron Rodgers MVP is on the smart list.
Whenever you have something like that, though, now that you can legally bet, just put $10 on it. Because if you hit on 1 out of the 10, you're going to make so much money on those crazy odds.
Yeah.
So
love money.
Yeah. Great to encourage these things on your show. But
it's legal in the state of Michigan where we currently are.
I love him too. And I think going back to the McAfee situation, I think it was his chance to control whatever is said about him for once in his life. Athletes live in a time where they can control what is said about them because they can go on Twitter and say, well, that's not true. Like it's so, which is great, but it also creates a totally different world of like reporting or directly from the source.
Like your friend Kevin Pillar did earlier today.
Exactly. Goes on, tweets and says, hey guys, that'd be cool, but it's not true. And it's like, done. Yeah. Simple as that.
It would have been so cool if that was true. That would have been.
He should have rolled with it. He should have rolled with it. Just like, I had a bloody bat and I hit 2 home runs with it, but whatever.
Right. All right. Let's get into some of these random questions I want to talk to you about.
More Jake Funk.
Does it get more random than Jake Funk?
I cannot believe we got a Jake Funk drop on this show. I do agree with you about the jersey. That'd be a good looking jersey.
I gotta hit Jake Funk up. Let him know. Maybe I can't believe there are that many people hitting him up. So
I want to know.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
I agree with you that that'd be really cool on the back of a jersey. I would like to know how Doug Free with the Dallas Cowboys, who is eligible to wear the number 69 on his back, didn't. To have free 69.
69 is pretty good. It's pretty good.
I'm applying for his PR position to help him out, but I think it's a little late in his career.
Guys like that though are sick of the name jokes. Like they're really like, and I not like to just make this about me. And that's exactly what I'm unfortunately doing. And I'm not sick of this. I'm not sick of this joke, but it's like it's run its course where I have to legitimately fake a laugh. Like for a while in my life, definitely not anymore. And people might not remember this part of the world. Connor was not like a popular name. Like when I was like a kid, like I don't remember like I didn't grow up with any like Connors, nothing like that. And people love like making John Connor references at the time for when they, so like the first couple of times I heard it, I was like, oh yeah, it's like funny. Then like when you get into like the 20s and the 30s and the 40s, and I remember the first time I was ever in France, someone was so excited, like a local, to do that. And I like had to fake a laugh because it would have really ruined their day if I just like kept a grim face at a John Connor reference. But that's like a name joke where I'm just like, you just Doug Free was probably just burnt out of jokes about Free.
So let me ask this, free that. Let me ask you this, radio for two right here. So when the Jets drafted John Connor in the 5th round out of Kentucky, the fullback,
you couldn't end.
John All.
It just couldn't end. It could not end. Although that one was fine because everybody just loved calling him the Terminator, and like nobody was ever like, oh, Connor, like the Jets drafted a John Connor. Like no one ever said that. So that was fine, but it did make me laugh because like it's just a running joke for like forever.
By the way, one of my pet peeves is nicknames that you know why they're saying it, but it doesn't make a lick of sense.
Yeah.
John Connor was not the Terminator, right? John Connor was the boy.
Yes, that's correct.
The Terminator, it's like, that's not correct.
But he was a fullback, and Rex Ryan, exactly.
Right.
Rex Ryan would just say whatever came to his brain. So it was like, oh, John Connor, the Terminator. Yeah, you're right. It made literally no sense at all.
No, but John Connor, the fullback for the Jets, was a goddamn Terminator. That guy took people out like nobody's business.
Yeah, he was a unit. And then like 2 years after they took him, nobody in the league was using fullbacks anymore. It felt like. No,
a good friend of the show, Jeff Greenwood, the fantasy football engineer.
Jeff is the only person who knows.
I was saying the basketball player. I was like, that's pretty cool. I was like, you guys really like overhyped me as a guest when you have Jeff Green on the show.
Yeah, Jeff Green. Wood. You know. All right, let's get to these random questions. I came up with a few. I don't think Josh has seen them. Josh has come up with a few. I definitely haven't seen them, even though he texted me at like 12 o'clock today and be like, yeah, I'm going to text them all to you. That never happened. So, Connor, I'm going to start you off with this. I asked Kyle the same question, and he told me he had no idea. Which of the Power Rangers is your favorite?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh,
never watched it. Never watched it.
What is with the dudes with the good hair not watching Power Rangers?
I think I missed Power Rangers by like 2 or 3 years.
I think I'm just a loser for watching it.
Like, it's not that. It's not. No. There's just different eras of TV, and I remember like it being re-aired when I was a kid, and I was just like my sister is 4 years older than me, and I remember like that being like an era of Power Rangers, and when it was on, I was just like this isn't what we watch. So it's not like an insult.
What was your show growing up?
Oh man, I mean cartoons, SpongeBob. Like I was in the SpongeBob era, like thick and thin of SpongeBob era. Absolutely. Pokemon. Absolutely. Okay. Pokemon was the bomb.
I hated Pokemon.
Oh, it was great.
I'm 32. I'm in the ripe age for.
I'm 29. So you were in the Power Rangers era.
Yeah.
See, I'm the old dude. I'm 35.
You guys were in the Power Rangers era.
Oh yeah, I love Power Rangers.
I messed around with Pokemon too.
Yeah.
Maybe I was too old. Maybe I'm like a weird old kid watching
Pokemon had like a big window though. Like high schoolers were probably collecting Pokemon cards, while so were like elementary kids. Probably some different high schooler, like it was a different crowd that was doing Pokemon then. But right. I don't know.
So I remember playing in a little league when I was like 5th or 6th grade or something like that, and I think Mookie Wilson was the guest speaker at the event, and they asked like name any member of the 1986 Mets, and you win a pack of Pokemon cards. So like me being the crazy person that I am, I said, "How many of them do you want?" And so I just start rattling off a few. Like, okay,
opportunity.
Oh yeah, they're like, here's a case of Pokemon cards. I'm like, can I get a baseball instead? Like, I don't give a damn about Pokemon.
Yeah, give me a signed bat.
Yeah, right. But you saw Logan Paul had that one around his neck is worth $1 million.
Oh my God, the Charizard. That was,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a fan of the Paul brothers by any stretch, but that was a pretty cool idea.
I gotta tell you something. And I just don't know if I should say this on a live show that people could see. We have followers, listeners.
Hold on, I got you.
But I'm embarrassed to say this. I'm starting to like them, I think. They were like those. It's like I was in the zone. I hated them like everyone else in America, as you should. And as time goes, they're one of those like people that are so annoying. You start to go, I think I might start to like those dudes.
I get the bit they're doing.
You know,
that's like I went from like, wow, I can't stand them or any attention they get, and now I'm like, they figured it out. Honestly, they figured it out. They have made millions of dollars. They are in the ring with people they have no business being in the ring with, or choosing. If you're Jake, I want to make sure I don't mix them up.
Right.
Always picking the right opponents.
Yeah.
I mean, Nate Robinson and then Ben. I was listening to Chris Long's Greenlight Pod the other day, and he had Michael Chandler on. And Chandler was like, does anyone realize like Ben Askren was coming off major hip surgery and just got in the ring? In a sport, he's a wrestler. He's not
he's an Olympic wrestler.
He's not a boxer, and he's coming off major. They figured it out. They are selling these pay-per-views. Now, are they good people? I definitely don't think they're good people.
Right.
I want to make that very clear. But in terms of money making, they figured it out. It's a shame that like people crave that level of energy. It's like, I'm going to be honest. I didn't get the fight, the Mayweather Logan fight. I had no interest in it. I watched the U.S. men's national team that night play an incredible extra time game against Mexico, like for free.
Weren't the Mets in San Diego?
Yes, they were.
So shouldn't you be watching a 10 o'clock game? Come on.
Well, I'm a dual screen guy. I mean, come on. But I'm telling you, one of those screens was not getting a $70 pay-per-view to watch Mayweather and Logan Paul hug each other in the ring.
Hell no.
But you know how many people did buy it?
Way too many.
I did, but I also watched I also watched Christian Pulisic in that game, so I had the double screen. Don't worry,
dude. And it's like then people that watched the fight and were mad were like, "Oh my God, there's this great like soccer match on." It was just funny to watch the Twitter timeline like alter real quick.
I hear you. I love how this was supposed to be quick hits, and we're just having a good time, and we're not even.
That's what we do.
Quick hitting anything.
No, I'm not good at quick hits. I'm very long-winded.
Okay, so I want the long answer on this one. I'm excited for this one.
Okay,
you get to go to one of these dudes' bachelor parties. Which one are you choosing and why?
Oh, this is fun.
Kingsbury or McVay?
Johnny Manziel was going to be in that conversation.
I'm going to go to McVay's, and Cliff is very chill, like extremely chill. And I think since Cliff is such like a swagged out, good looking dude, he gets the rep as like, not like a frat bro, but he gets that rep as like the question you just asked me. Like, when do you want to go to his bachelor party? McVay is definitely a more wound up. You see that Rams draft house?
Yeah.
Likes to have a good time. It's the answer is McVay. So, I mean, Cliff is a very, I met Cliff once at the NFL Combine, like down to earth, insanely nice dude. Right. So laid back though. It's like, wow, you're the NFL. You're like a head coach in the NFL. Like, and I'm not saying he's bad at, like, he's obviously had a great like football life. He played quarterback in the NFL. I know he wasn't a starter, but still like made it to the league.
It's still on his resume.
Dude made it to the freaking NFL. So like, I'm like, I cannot believe how, and everybody, it's not like one of those off chances, like of course, Cliff Kingsbury talking to like freaking me, some draft nerd, like he's going to be chill. But like people I know in the league that know him are like, no, it's like how he just always is. While Sean McVay is a little like go, go, go. So right. I think with Cliff, I'm going to assume you're getting like, man, you might be going to like a beer hall or like a nice dinner or like a beach somewhere. I feel like McVay, you're getting like the Nashville showdown.
You're like doing lines in the back of a club, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mix myself up with that, but yes, you are in a situation where there's no sleeping. You're milking every hour of the 3 or 4 day weekend. You're in an Airbnb with like 24 dudes from all these different backgrounds having a great time. McVay's would be probably insane.
But let me argue a little bit for Kingsbury here. Okay?
Please, go ahead.
Are you guys familiar, Connie, probably are, with Holly Saunders?
Yes.
Okay. They dated. Kingsbury and her.
I mean, he's a good-looking dude.
Yeah.
And he's way taller than McVay. Way taller than McVay.
Oh, yes. But if you're dating, because Holly Saunders is now with Vegas Dave, right? If your dating pool is Vegas Dave,
too much TMZ, bro.
you don't know Vegas Dave?
No, bro,
I don't know Vegas Dave.
Okay. You guys gotta look up Vegas Dave, but you also gotta look up Holly Saunders. If Holly Saunders is in your dating pool, you're probably dark horse a little bit wild. You're probably dark horse a little bit crazy.
The GOAT of sports betting. And the first picture of him is in like a whole all pink jumpsuit with zippers in random places.
He's like him and Jake Paul are probably friends.
I could see that.
But I'm saying if she's now married to this dude, she's a little bit wild, she's a little bit crazy. He's dark horse, probably a little bit crazy himself. He just doesn't show it.
Well, how long did the relationship last?
I don't think through a mini camp.
So Cliff is the type of dude, and a lot of people are like this. He like can have really crazy nights in like spurts, and then he burns out. So that's what that fling was.
I hear that.
It wasn't a lifestyle.
So I just heard the Peter Schrager podcast with Sean McVay, and they had Cliff Kingsbury on. It sounds like Sean McVay and Kingsbury are like best of friends. So I think honestly you're gonna have the best of both worlds. If it's the Kingsbury bachelor party,
they're gonna be at both.
I was gonna say they're gonna be there. You have quite the crew at that bachelor party, because then you have whoever it is. Matt LaFleur is gonna be there as well. Both LaFleurs are gonna be there. So you have it's just this bachelor party of offensive minds. But they're not gonna.
You should have. I heard him and Stafford are boys now. So
they got dinner in Mexico the night the trade happened.
No tampering whatsoever.
Right. It's just we're both here.
What about Shanahan? Shanahan's going to be there. Shanahan, he's a wild man too. You see him at those rap concerts all the time.
Yeah.
Did he name his kid after like Lil Wayne or something?
Oh yeah.
So that'll be fun.
Off the chain.
Kingsbury's a dude you want at the bachelor party also, because like I'm sure we've all been to wild bachelor parties and things are getting crazy, and you want there to be that one other dude who is like, okay, I know we're all going to be okay. Like he's there making sure that nobody's going to jail. He's there making sure nobody's.
Fangio.
It's a good question. It's a really good question. There's no easy answer.
All right, I'm going to give you a much less complicated question. You rather wear sandals with socks or dress shoes with no socks?
Are they loafers, the dress shoes?
No, they're like
tie up.
Yeah.
Where am I going? It doesn't matter where I'm going.
You're on the train.
You're going to the BR
matters.
Studios.
That matters a lot.
You're going to the.
I would wear the dress shoes.
Dress shoes, no socks. All right.
Because, dude, the last time I wore slides with socks was when I was like actually like playing sports and was just walking off like the field, like as an adult on the train going to work.
It was cool.
I mean, do you know what people would say to me if I walked in the let me tell you about the BR office too. It's like Kicks Central. So like everybody's got on. I mean, we have a Kicks department. They just have boxes of shoes lined up, and like they're awesome. Like there was one time where like they just hook up the office with shoes. Like I can't walk in with slides and socks. At least dress shoes. They're like people would be like, "Oh, Connor came from somewhere." Like I could hide the ankle showing that I don't have socks on. The slides, I'd be in.
But honestly, I mean, that's a look. You go to Italy, you go to Europe. There are plenty of dudes wearing no dress shoes.
Absolutely, but I like it with the loafers.
Right.
Like I don't even own tie-up dress shoes.
Well, it would just be uncomfortable.
Because I'm lazy.
If you're doing it for a full day, like
Blister Central,
it can get really hot and nasty up in there,
dude. Your feet would be cooked, man, cooked. But
all right. I got
rather bad feet for a day than the judgment and ridicule of slides and socks at work.
You'd lose your job over it.
They'd have grounds cause to fire me.
Then you can work from home.
Already do.
Favorite pizza topping?
Pepperoni. It's just so we don't have to get nuts here. People like to do like the whole, pineapple or these veggie pizzas. It's just good pepperoni is unbeatable.
See, I got you there, but one thing I would say is it was a trick question because to me it's just cheese. Pizza is cheese. You start putting more on it, you're getting weird.
So I just had this conversation. A plain slice to me is a cheese slice.
Right.
It was like this whole debate. Like
I heard it last week, and I'm with you. Look, we're New
Wait,
York.
so Abe, you're from New York.
Yes.
What do you call that?
It's just a slice of pizza.
It's a plain slice, right?
Slice, yeah.
Thank you.
Not a cheese
Okay.
slice, it's a plain slice.
I saw people on Twitter saying people from New York call it a cheese slice. And I'm like, I'm from New York.
No.
And my parents were born in Brooklyn. Like, and we always in my house or wherever we went called it a plain slice. It's a plain slice.
It's a plain.
And people are like, "Oh no, it's a cheese slice."
They also call it out here in the Midwest. They call it a piece, like a piece of pizza. It's not a piece. It's a freaking slice.
No, we call it a piece. You're like,
That's
how many
weird.
pieces you want?
That's really weird.
So
That's what we call it here.
So I don't know pizza culture because I have a rule. Like in 2018, 2019, I was on the road a ton, right? I got my years mixed up because the quarantine just like ruined my
weren't on
timeline of life.
2020. I promise you that.
I have a 2-year-old son who
He doesn't know what the world looks like.
4 months to me because like that time period just didn't happen.
He's never seen the world. 2018, 2019, I was on the road, especially during football season, but most of the year, like every other week. And I basically forced the rule, like I won't get pizza outside of the tri-state because like, it's just, there was no reason to. 2, it gave me something to look forward to going back home every time. But like now I'm kind of pissed I didn't because I would have learned all these cultural pizza things. Like how many pieces of pizza?
You don't need to. You don't need
That's
to.
insane.
New York does it right, and let it just stick there. New York has the best pizza. They also call soda out here pop. I'm like, I don't need.
It's just like a 1920s thing.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't need to
2 pieces and a pop. 2 pieces and a pop, and our pizzas are square.
I'm okay with the square pie.
But that's a Sicilian.
But it's not a
Detroit
slice.
style. It's a Detroit style.
So I had my first Detroit style slice 2 weeks ago. Obviously made here in New York,
Sure.
but I was just like, okay, it was actually really good.
It's good.
Really good.
It's a lot better than Chicago. Chicago is just a bunch of fake.
It's a lasagna or what? Casserole? All right, casserole. I don't know why I said lasagna. It all looks the same.
It's all the same. It's all the same crap. All right. This is again radio for 2 right here. Which of these young players are you more excited about? Zach Wilson or Brett Beatty? And Josh has no idea who Brett Beatty is.
I have no idea. I don't get your Mets AA trash out of here.
He's in single A. That's the best part. I mean, it's Wilson. I really liked Wilson well before the Jets picked him. So wherever he went, I wanted to like see him play the way he did at BYU his final year because he's fun to watch, good or bad. Like he's a dude when he gets out of the pocket, it's like, oh my God, what is he going to do? And the guys that you say that about in the league for the most part are like Mahomes, Russ, Lamar, Rodgers. There's bad ones too. Like Drew Lock has done that at times. And like, there's bad ones. But that's the feeling watching Wilson. Beatty, I think, is going to rake, but we're just so many years away. And if the Mets had like an awful lineup where I'm just like, can somebody do something? I'd be watching every Brooklyn.
So much.
I'd be watching every single A game of Brett Beatty. But Zach Wilson's going to be in the NFL this year.
That single A Brooklyn club is stacked.
They're like an all-star team.
Future studs. I'm with you with Zach Wilson, mostly because of this. If Brett,
because you're a homer, so you're going to say that.
I love both those guys. I'm a homer for both of them. If
it's true,
Brett Beatty sucks, like it's one guy in a deep lineup, and we can live without it. If Zach Wilson sucks,
it's a nightmare.
We're 6 years down the drain.
Dead in the water again.
Yeah,
like year 8 million.
Yeah,
in a row.
Like I'm fully prepared for Zach Wilson to be trash. I love Wilson. I loved him coming out. I was all in on Zach Wilson prior to here. You can even see this. I was all in on Zach Wilson.
There it is.
Even before he was a Jet, even before all the rumors of that he's going to the Jets. I love Zach Wilson over Justin Fields, over Trey Lance. But if they miss on him, I mean, it's one I'm 100% fully prepared for.
Everyone's fired. Number one, if they miss on him. Josh, are you a Lions fan?
Die hard, unfortunately.
Okay. I mean, I considered the Patricia era like the Gase of the NFC, honestly.
Yeah.
So you can easily relate to like All of
Well, that's
these
what I was
things.
going to say. First of all, what Abe and I always commiserate. When we have other guests come on, and they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
we're Ravens fans, or whatever." We're like, "Well, we're Jets and Lions fans, so shut up. We don't care."
Yeah, but at least we have a Super Bowl.
Right, but that's true. I mean, quite a while ago, we have NFL championships, bro. They just started the Super Bowl too late.
Oh, you love that.
Go look at the 50s. We're killing it. When it's kind of, you said something funny, which is true, which is like, I guess like if Wilson sucks, then like whatever, back to what we've always dealt with as Jets fans. It's funny too, when people are like, well, what if the Stafford trade just blows up in our face and he goes and wins Super Bowls there and we waste these first round picks and Goff sucks? And I'm like, and what? Then it's life as usual for the last 50 years. What do you want? Who cares?
Right. You don't know what you've never had. That's the difference there. Like in my fanhood of watching the Jets, they've never had a franchise quarterback. Right. So like even the years they almost went to the Super Bowl back to back, Mark Sanchez was bad. So
playoffs, he was great in the playoffs.
He really did turn on a different light in the playoffs. It's very bizarre. Very bizarre.
Well,
but
what's worse though? Never having the franchise quarterback or having a legitimate franchise quarterback
and blowing it
for the last decade plus and still being one of the worst teams in the league.
Can't answer. Don't know what it's like, but I do wonder. I do wonder that because I am one of the people that, back to when we were doing Stick to Football Bleacher Report 3 times a week, I would say all the time, like, because my co-host Matt Miller, I don't think he liked Stafford or some of our listeners didn't. And I loved Stafford. And I'm like, this guy is really good. It's just not working there. What's around him.
Right.
And it would be very interesting to see the public perception of Stafford after this year with the Rams. I mean, I really think he can win the MVP with the Rams.
It's that age-old question, like the Buffalo Bills. Like, would you rather have lost all 4 of those or not gone at all?
That's
Also
an extreme example.
Also don't know because we never invented one.
Like, imagine what you feel like, though, after the 4th. I guess after the 3rd, you go, it's just never going to happen.
Nope.
But, like, after the 4th, you watch your team lose the Super Bowl. Like, I don't know. I can't.
I'll ask you this. The 2015 Mets, right? I love that team. You love that team. We will remember that crew forever, and we will always have that memory of getting there, right? I can make that same argument for the Bills and for Bills fans, loving Jim Kelly, loving Thurman Thomas and Andre Reed. Like, those are the guys that built your, like, kind of built as you who
the identity of your franchise. Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, I think the Mets thing, what I always tell people, and I guess I was a different age, so it changes too. But like when they didn't, what was it, 06? That whatever year Beltron, it was 06.
My soul hurt from it.
I mean, and I was really young, like younger. I remember being like in pain how upset I was. Like I was like, I cannot believe they lost the Cardinals that way. Like this was the team that was supposed to win a title. And then the 2015 Mets, I didn't even expect them to make the playoffs that year. Nope. So we were riding this wave, and we
had Eric Campbell batting cleanup half the season.
Right? I was down in New York, so I was going to a lot of games. I was like riding this wave. Like everybody's wearing Mets shit everywhere. Like I was like, even when they lost the World Series, I was like upset, but I was like, man, that was a lot of fun. Yep. Like they won 2 series that I really thought, in the way they beat the Cubs, they had no business like just demolishing those teams. I don't know. I wasn't. It's crazy to say you're not upset when your team loses in the World Series, but there was something weird about that year as a sports fan. Like there was years where I'm like, the Rangers should have made the Cup or won the Cup. There was years where, like, obviously the Jets in 2010 really should have made the Super Bowl. I know it's crazy to say, but coming off that 09 season and the improvements they made, they should have made the Super Bowl. Same with the Jets in 98. Like the Mets in 2015 never felt that way. I really just enjoyed the entire thing. It sucked though what happened in 16, 17, and then just fell apart.
Yep.
Well, it's we have the same problem here. I mean, Abe will tell you, here in Detroit, it's a Tigers town. When the Tigers are good, I mean, it's rocking here. Obviously, we're trash now. Hopefully, I've
worked Tigers games where you had more uniformed officers working the games than actual fans.
Well,
it's tough.
It's tough. Hopefully with Torque and and Green coming up. Hopefully, hopefully we have a good future here. I think we do. But 2006 was a tough year for us. 2006, we were better than that Cardinals team, and I really thought we were the best team in baseball that year.
No, you weren't. Maybe second best.
It was tough. 2012 was tough. Getting swept by the Giants. I was at Game 4 where we got swept. I mean, it's painful. It's painful when you're there.
So I should take that back.
Yeah.
Well, the 2015 season, I was like okay as a sports fan mentally. I was at the game when Conforto hit rookie Michael Conforto hits 2 home runs in the World Series, and they just blow the game. That was the longest train ride home of my life.
Yeah,
it was bad.
That whole series, even Game 1,
every game. The Cespedes thing with the ball in the fence.
The first play of the World Series with Alcides Escobar, and then Game 1. And I know we have our listenership for this part is really going deep. But Game 1 of that World Series, we were up 1, and Familia had 2 outs on Alex Gordon and quick pitched him, and Gordon hit a game-tying home run.
And Familia was lights out that year. Like we never saw Familia get like touched that year. So it was like, oh my god, I can't believe that just happened.
I think that one pitch broke him because he's never been the same since.
No, he hasn't.
Was 2006 the year that the Cards beat the Mets?
Yeah. Beltran looked at a curveball. Yeah.
Brutal. Can you imagine if we win that game, the lore of Endy Chavez, as much as we love him in that one play,
with the catch?
Yep.
It would be one of the most famous moments in baseball history.
It'd be Buckner.
And I get that it's not because the Mets lost. I'm not like upset about it, but that's like one of the most iconic sports photos I've ever seen.
Yep.
Honestly, I wish you guys did win that series because we would have beat your ass in the World Series.
Not even close, bro.
It would have been an interesting conversation.
Not even
right
close
now. All right, I think when your sports team, just to wrap this up, when your sports teams lose and like you're not as upset about it, like I think you always think of like the guys you feel for, like David Wright and Terry Collins when the Mets lost in 2015. I'm like, man, that would have been nice for their legacy. You always think of legacies. Yep. That's what you think of.
Yep.
All right, Verlander cheated his way to a ring anyway afterwards, so it was fine.
You have the Red Wings. I'm not now, but there was a time where
not now we don't.
Iconic franchise.
We have the Wings, and look, my Pistons won a championship in 3 different decades, so.
And they were like a cool team.
They're cool. And they had the sweetest jerseys back then.
All right, Connor, you got to choose one chocolate bar for the rest of your life. You can only have one. What chocolate bar is that going to be?
Is it like serial killer if I just say Hershey's?
No. I mean, a little bit.
Right? It's a little because it's just chocolate.
It's like, are you a virgin? That's weird. I don't know.
There is a correct answer. The correct
I just think there's I mean, I can make an argument for Snickers.
Snickers is a good call.
Snickers is just reliable, but I honestly might say, like, rest of my life, I don't think I could ever get sick of just chocolate. But other things in a chocolate bar I can get sick of.
I don't know. The
correct answer, have you ever had a plain Nestle chocolate bar?
No.
The plain Nestle is money, actually. You got to try that.
Hershey's?
Not the Crunch, just Nestle chocolate.
All right, I'll give it a go. I'm pretty shocked by that take.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. All right, let's give Connor one more. We know he's his time is precious. And I'm going to get weird. I'm going to bring it back to football. Give me one running back with RB1 ADP who is least likely to finish as an RB1. Who's going to fall out of that top 12, top 10, when the season's all done.
It's a good one. It's a real good one. Man. Rip them off to me for like the borderline guys. Because I know the obvious. Like, I'm not going to tell you Derrick Henry is going to fall off. Like, I don't even think Zeke's a bad play this year with Dak back.
Well, I was going to say, Zeke, a lot of people are
that was my like. So I'm okay. I love Najee and I like him from a long-term outlook. But if is he really going round 1 right now, like across the board?
I don't think
he's
so.
going.
I don't think so. I think guys like Cam Akers, Antonio Gibson are going ahead of him. Austin Eckler, has to be. Austin Eckler to me is a top 5 guy. But
yeah,
those guys
catching is just silly.
Yeah.
Man, I think the Steelers. I hate to say this like on any show. I don't think the Steelers are going to be good this year at all. Like, I think it's going to unravel real fast there on offense. Defense will be fine. They'll do their thing. They're the Steelers. They have good players. Well coached. I think Najee is going to take a lot of hits behind the line of
12.
scrimmage. Yeah, give me the top 12.
Let me give you the top 12 and half point. We'll just split down the middle. McCaffrey, Dalvin, Henry, Kamara, Saquon, JT, Chubb, Zeke, Aaron Jones, Eckler, Cam Akers, Gibson.
Man, it can get bad for Aaron Jones real quick. What we talked about.
Right.
That's a scary one. I always worry about Dalvin Cook's health, but he's just so good, and they know how to run the ball there, so I wouldn't say him.
What about, look, call me crazy.
Crazy.
I love what Cam Akers was able to do last year. I wouldn't be shocked to see him fall out of that. Some people are thinking he's like the second coming of Walter Payton. I don't know.
It's weird how it goes. I have him in Dynasty, and I got him the year we started the league, so I didn't take Cam Akers third overall on a rookie draft or anything like that. I got him pretty late, and then I expected him to be a starter last year,
right? And
he obviously we know how that went. And now you're right. It's gone a full 180 where everyone thinks he's a top 5 back. And I'm just man, I'd be happy if I get freaking top 15 production out of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Top 18 production out of him.
I'm much higher on Gibson than I am on
Gibson can be a superstar. Them cutting Morgan Moses scares me a little because he's a great run blocker for them.
I love him. I love them cutting him.
Really?
Yeah, especially with the reports of him going to the Jets.
Going to the Jets, yeah. He's a good player. He's a really good player. He should. So we have to have a conversation about Saquon. Coming off injury, does anyone want to talk about how bad that offensive line looks on paper?
That's a bad O-line, and I don't know, I don't want to say anything too crazy, but it's also what they have under center.
We don't know what the quarterback is.
I
don't think he's good.
Daniel Jones is not good. I don't think he's good either. I think that was a stretch when they took him that high, and I just don't think he has it. He hasn't shown that able to do anything.
What they paid Galladay and how badly they wanted Devontae Smith tells me that they know their ass is on the line if Daniel Jones is not a star this year.
Right.
I mean, everyone's out. Gettleman's out. Yeah. Joe Judge might be out.
Judge will be the interesting one. I would blow it up if it doesn't work.
Saquon's not going to be there. You don't pick up the 5th-year option on a guy that just cannot stay healthy. And it's, people talk about injury prone is not really a thing. Well, no, but when you have injuries,
I love that, by the way.
Right. When you have exactly, and you have injuries that, look, not that I'm a professional athlete or anything like that, but I've had 3 or 4 shoulder surgeries. Why? Because when you injure your shoulder and you tear muscle, it's looser, it's weaker. And then it happens again. Now it's happened twice. It's going to happen 3 or 4 times. Saquon is not going to stay healthy.
There's the question about him, right? Because he's a great player that we don't know if he'll ever stay healthy. They are not a good run blocking offensive line at all right now, unless they think Pert and Andrew Thomas take these colossal jumps. Okay, then the tackles are, and I know Solder's coming back. I hate the interior. They got rid of Zeitler. Zeitler's the best guard they had.
Yep. Willie
man, who they're gonna let him go after this year. I don't know.
He was supposed to be great. He was supposed to be Alan Faneca, and he's not.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like they need to throw the ball 1 million times a game. And they got 1 million. I thought taking Tony at 20 was really early.
Yep.
Really early. I don't know.
Andrew Thomas. I really liked Andrew Thomas coming out of last year.
I did too. I think he'll be fine. I just think as a unit, they're really bad. I don't believe in Jason Garrett. Saquon's coming off a serious injury. I don't believe in the quarterback. So, and my answer would probably be Saquon. And maybe I look like an idiot after he has this breakout year, but if you're betting on things to go bad around one of those guys, how is it not him?
Right. No, it's Saquon to me. If he's not going to be, I would never take him in the first round. If he falls around after the turn, I like it. It may take a gamble because you can't win. They always say you're not going to win your league in the first round, but you can sure as shit lose it. So
it's how I lose almost whoever's going to be the star that gets hurt is who I take in the first round every year. Yeah. It never fails. Never fails. Michael Thomas last year, great pick.
Yep.
That's why when a couple weeks ago we had our offseason winners and losers, and I call Daniel Jones one of the biggest offseason losers because by putting all these pieces around him, if he doesn't step up, he's going to lose his job. And I think he's
Yeah,
trash.
done. Yeah.
So, right. So if you're in the Sam Darnold situation where you don't have weapons around you, you're like, oh, is it really him? Is it the weapons? This and that, right? With Daniel Jones, they're giving everything around him, and he's still going to be trash. He'll be out of the league in 3 years.
Yeah, there's somebody that will believe in you if they don't believe in the people around you. Like Adam Gase's reputation in the NFL, obviously not good. So Sam, I mean, the compensation for Sam was more than what Julio Jones brought back. And I know the money and age and all positions all different and all that, but I mean, still.
Right.
So.
Yep. All right, that's all the time we got for tonight on the DFS Docket. Remember, you can check us out on Twitter at DFS_Docket. Connor, we really, really appreciate you taking. I mean, this took a lot longer than we were expecting, and you've just been balling with us, and we really appreciate it. You can follow him at Connor J. Rogers. Follow, Bleacher Report. All of you, if we haven't yet converted you to Mets fans, Connor and I are going to continue to work on that because we have we got a great crew of the orange and blue, and with that. The courtroom is now closed.
I mean, maybe listen just in case. Get it? The docket is gold. My pockets are swole. Stop, drop, and roll. At lock, I'm the gold. It doesn't get old. Each episode, I just download. I'm just a fella that's hella intelligent now that I got me the code. Build me a yellow brick road. Hey, chillin', feelin'. How could I be this gifted? Millions, reelin', frying up all of these fish sticks. Enter all these competitions. I ain't seen no competition. Justice served can't stop the system. I suggest y'all stop and listen. Please rise, sit down. Pot is in session, get rich now. Invest in the best, yes. The investigator is nothing but fresh. Please rise, sit down. Pot is in session, get rich now. Go by the book, yeah. The lawyer is loyal, now come take a look. Go.